So what's up my fish friends, Mermail Atlanteans is back and this one is very spicy. This variant has Spright and Melffy splashed into it. Spright combos have a lot of variation. They can use Spright Starter to summon Spright Red, which can negate monster effects, or Spright Carrot, which can negate spell or trap cards. If you're going first and you don't know what deck your opponent is playing, then you may not know which monster is the best to summon. But in this deck, we will be able to use Sea Minstrel to look at our opponent's hand, and then we can decide if we want to summon Spright Red or Spright Carrot, and modify our end board so it best counters the opponent. We will also be able to rip 2 cards from our opponent's hand with Mooling Glacia and still do a full Spright combo, which is pretty much an instant win if you pull off this combo, because you're going to be so ahead in card advantages. So to start our combos, we need to get a level 2 monster on the field with any monster. Then we can summon our Spright extra deck monsters, which require at least one level 2 monster to be used as material. Using our Spright extra deck monsters, we will use Spright Sprint to extend our combos by sending a level 2 monster from the deck to the graveyard, to then special summon more level 2 monsters onto the field, and we can also use Gigantic Spright to special summon level 2 monsters from the deck. These cards will be used to access your best extenders from your deck, like Spright Blue, Swap Frog, Nimble Angler, and Plague Spreader. Using just 1 or 2 card combos, we can create end boards with 4 or 5 disruptions. With this type of card advantage, it's no wonder why Sprights is a tier 1 meta deck. We will summon disruptions like Melffy Caddy, which can return itself to the hand if your opponent summons a monster to add Caddy Penny to the hand. Melffy of the Forest can activate its effect if a face-up Melffy monster you control returns to your hand. Then you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. It cannot attack, also its effects are negated while it is face-up on the field. And anytime during that turn, you can special summon Penny to synchro summon using Caddy as material into a Herald of Arc Light. So you may want to wait until your opponent summons a monster worth negating before you return Melffy Caddy to the hand. But in many cases, you may want to summon Herald of Arc Light right away. This is because it has a Floodgate ability, which states that any monster sent from the hand or main deck to the graveyard is banished instead. So this card's going to be your counter to decks that mill cards like Tearlaments. And if a monster is special summoned, Spright Sprint can detach 1 material from an Eggsy monster you control, to then return 1 monster on the field to the hand. You can wait for your opponent to special summon a monster, or you can special summon a monster yourself from the graveyard with Spright Elf, or special summon Melffy Penny from the hand. And we also have IP Masquerena, which will mostly be used to summon either Unicorn to shuffle an opponent's monster into the deck, or Link into Avermax to protect your monsters from battle. So during the main phase, we will activate IP Masquerena to link summon on the opponent's turn. We will activate Unicorn's effect on Link Summon, discarding one of our cards to target 1 monster on the opponent's field and shuffling it back into the deck. Now we can take a look at a 1-card combo involving Deep-Sea Diva. We're going to normal summon Deep-Sea Diva. Deep-Sea Diva will then special summon Atlantean Prince from the deck. Atlantean Prince can send 1 Atlantean monster to the graveyard as a cost, so we can add an Atlantean card to our hand. And when Atlantean Dragoons is sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect, you can add 1 Sea Serpent monster from your deck to your hand. We'll use it to add Sea Minstrel. Sea Minstrel will pitch the Dragoons so we can look at the opponent's hand, and then banish 1 card until the end of the turn. Atlantean Dragoons is not once per turn, so we use it to add another Sea Serpent to the hand. We will add a Mooling Glacia. To summon Mooling Glacia, you'll need 5 water monsters in the graveyard, and we already have 3, so we're just going to link away the 2 water monsters on the field into Puzzleomino. Now with 5 water monsters in the graveyard, we can special summon Mooling Glacia. We'll summon it in a zone Puzzleomino points to. Puzzleomino will then change the level of a monster it points to. We'll change Mooling Glacia to level 2. Then Mooling Glacia will rip 2 random cards from the opponent's hand. If Mooling Glacia is removed from the field, you will have to skip your next battle phase. But if you use it as Eggsy material, then it won't be considered leaving the field. Gigantic Spright can be Eggsy summoned using a Link 2 or level 2 monster as material. So we'll Eggsy summon Puzzleomino and Mooling Glacia. Then we can activate Gigantic Spright. We'll use it to summon Spright Blue. Spright Blue will activate Spright Blue on special summon. Use its effect to add a Spright Jet to the hand. Now we can link away our Spright monsters into Spright Elf. Spright Elf will then special summon Spright Blue back from the graveyard. We'll special summon Spright Jet. Spright Jet will then activate its effect on special summon, letting us add a Spright starter to our hand. We can then link away the 2 Spright monsters into Spright Sprint. On special summon, Spright Sprint can then send a level 2 monster to the graveyard. We'll use it to send Nimble Angler. When Nimble Angler is sent to the graveyard, it can special summon 2 Nimbles from the deck, so we'll special summon 2 Nimble Beavers. Using those 2 Nimble Beavers, we'll Exi summon into Melffy of the Forest. Melffy of the Forest will detach 1 material to add Melffy Caddy to the hand. Now we can activate our Spright starter to summon a Spright Red to negate monsters, or to summon a Spright Carrot which can negate spell and trap cards. Because we know what our opponent's hand looks like, we will choose the card that has the biggest impact. Now this is a 1-card combo, so we're just going to ignore the other cards in our hand, end the turn, and then special summon Melffy Caddy at the end phase. Minstrel returns the card to their hand. The opponent has 3 cards in their hand, and we have 4 disruptions on the field. So this next one is a 2-card combo. We're going to do the same Deep Sea Diva combo, but right after we add Mooling Glacia to the hand, we will special summon Spright Blue. At this point, most people will likely surrender. We'll use Spright Blue to add Spright Jet to the hand. We will need 5 water monsters in the graveyard to summon Mooling Glacia, so we're going to link away our Spright Blue and Atlantean Prince into a Spright Sprint. We now have 4 water monsters in the graveyard. We can activate Spright Sprint to send a 5th water monster to the graveyard, a Nimble Angler. Activating Nimble Angler, we will special summon 2 Nimble Beavers from the deck. With 5 water monsters now in the graveyard, we can special summon Mooling Glacia, ripping 2 random cards from the opponent's hand. Using Deep Sea Diva and Mooling Glacia, we will synchro summon into a Baron de Fleur. Mooling Glacia has left the field, so you will have to skip your next battle phase, but it will be worth it because now you have an Omni Negate on the field. Now we can use Spright Sprint and Nimble Beaver as Exi material to special summon Gigantic Spright. We'll activate Gigantic Spright, detaching 1 material to special summon a level 2 monster from the deck. We'll use it to special summon Swap Frog. On special summon, we'll activate Swap Frog to send a Ronin Toad to the graveyard. Now we can link away our Swap Frog and Gigantic Spright into a Spright Elf. We'll activate Spright Elf, special summoning the Swap Frog from the graveyard, so we can activate Swap Frog again. This time we'll send a Swap Frog to the graveyard. We will activate the effect of Ronin Toad in the graveyard. Ronin Toad will banish 1 frog from the graveyard and special summon itself. Using both frogs, we can link summon into IP Masquerena. Then we can special summon Spright Jet, and depending on what cards our opponent has left in their hand, we can use Spright Jet to add Starter or Smasher. If we choose to add Spright Smasher, then we can special summon Ronin Toad by banishing Swap Frog, then using Ronin Toad and Beaver to Exi summon into Melffy of the Forest. We can detach 1 material from Melffy Forest to add Melffy Caddy to the hand. Then set the Spright Smasher. If we choose to add Spright Starter, then we can use Beaver and Spright Jet to Exi summon into Melffy of the Forest, detaching 1 material to add Melffy Caddy to the hand. Then we can activate Spright Starter to special summon Spright Carrot or Spright Red. Now we can end our turn and special summon Melffy Caddy from the hand. So this gives us a total of 5 disruptions, on top of the 2 cards that were ripped out of our opponent's hand. So now we're going to take a look at another 1-card combo, but this one involves Neptyabyss the Atlantean Prince. we're going to normal summon Neptyabyss. Then we're going to send Atlantean Dragoons to the graveyard and add another Dragoons to our hand. We're going to use Dragoons to add a Lapis Dragon. And when we add Lapis Dragon from the deck to the hand, you can reveal it and then special summon it. Using Lapis Dragon and Atlantean Prince, we can Synchro Summon into a level 6 Synchro, into a Mortal Dragon. During the main phase, we can activate a Mortal Dragon to send a zombie from the deck to the graveyard. We can activate the Plague Spreader in the graveyard, placing one card from our hand on top of the deck to special summon Plague Spreader. Now that we have a level 2 monster on the field, we can link it away into a Spright Sprint. We'll activate Spright Sprint on summon to send a Nimble Angler from the deck to the graveyard, and then special summon 2 Nimble Beavers from the deck. We'll then use Spright Sprint and Nimble Beaver to Exi Summon into a Gigantic Spright. We use Gigantic Spright, detaching one material to special summon a Spright Blue from the deck. We'll activate Spright Blue, adding a Spright Jet to the hand. Now we can link summon into a Spright Elf. We'll special summon Spright Jet, and whoops, I accidentally clicked away. You want to activate the effect of Spright Jet to add Spright Starter to the hand. We're just going to pretend that we added this Spright Starter to the hand with Spright Jet. We'll use Spright Starter to special summon Spright Red or Spright Carrot. We'll use Spright Elf to special summon a level 2 monster from the graveyard. And then using 2 level 2 monsters, we can Exi Summon into Melffy of the Forest. We'll detach one material from Melffy the Forest to add Melffy Caddy to the hand. Now we can end our turn. We'll special summon Melffy Caddy. And we have a total of 3 disruptions. And if our opponent has a monster on the field, we can activate Spright Elf on the opponent's turn to special summon Spright Sprint from the graveyard. With Spright Sprint on the field, Melffy Caddy, Spright Red, and Melffy of the Forest, we have 4 disruptions, all started from just 1 card. So in this replay, we're going first. I'm going to normal summon Plague Spreader, special summon Spright Blue, and use Spright Blue to add Spright Jets to the hand. Activate Spright Jet on special summon to add a Spright Starter to the hand. Using Plague Spreader and Spright Jet, I'll link it to Spright Sprint. We'll activate Spright Sprint on summon to send a Nimble Angler from the deck to the graveyard. The opponent responds with a Kelbeck. They're going to target Spright Sprint, sending it back into the deck. Using Nimble Angler, we'll special summon 2 Nimble Beavers from the deck, and then Exi Summon with those Beavers into a Gigantic Spright. We've already used Spright Blue's effect, so the next best extender to special summon from the deck would be Swap Frog, so we're going to special summon Swap Frogs, using its effect to send Ronin Toad to the graveyard, and then we'll link Spright Blue and the Swap Frog into a Spright Elf. We'll activate Spright Elf to bring back the Swap Frog and send a Swap Frog from the deck to the graveyard. We'll banish the Swap Frog to special summon Ronin Toad. And we'll use Ronin Toad and Swap Frog to link it to IP Masquerena. We'll banish another Swap Frog to special summon Ronin Toad. Using our 2 level 2 monsters, we can then Exi Summon into Melffy of the Forest. We will detach one material to add Melffy of the Caddy to the hand. Spright Starter will be used to special summon Spright Red. And to get another disruption on the field, I'll activate Plague Spreader to send Mooling Glacia back to the top of the deck to special summon Plague Spreader, and then link Spright Red and Plague Spreader into Spright Sprint. On the end phase, I'll special summon Melffy Caddy, and I'll pass my turn. So the opponent is going to special summon Destrudo. I'm going to respond with a Max C. If the opponent activates a Call by the Grave to negate Max C, I can chain Spright Elf, targeting the Max C, and dodging the Call by the Grave. We can chain our Melffy Caddy to the special summon, and then activate Spright Elf to special summon the Spright Red from the graveyard, We'll use Melffy Caddy to add Melffy Penny to the hand. We will Synchro Summon with Melffy Penny right away. Our opponent is likely playing a mill deck since they do have Kelbeck. So we'll Special Summon Herald of Arc. The opponent attempts to enter the battle phase to destroy Herald of Arc. To protect our monsters from battle, we will activate IP Masquerena to link into Avermax. So the opponent's going to Foolish Burial to send a Crystal Beast trap card, banishing that trap card to add a Crystal Beast monster to their hand and a field spell to their hand. And it is a Tearlament field spell, so we're going to have to make sure that Herald of Arc Light stays on the field, because it's our best counter against Tearlaments. Every monster sent from the main deck or hand will be banished instead, so the Tearlament Sheeran they just added to their hand is just a dead card. So the opponent tries to blow up the field, destroying everything with a Red Rose Dragon, but we're going to respond to that with Spright Red. We're going to tribute Spright Sprint and negate and destroy Black Rose Dragon. It would have been better to tribute Melffy the Forest, but you know, oh well. The opponent's just going to normal summon Rhino Heart and pass their turn. So the opponent's activating a trap card, flipping Herald of Arc face down, to then send one Tearlament monster from the deck to the graveyard. They send a Tearlament Havness and activate its graveyard effect. We're going to respond with Spright Red, tributing our Melffy of the Forest to negate that effect. And before we summon anything, we're going to flip over Herald of Arc Light, special summon our Mooling Glacia now that we have 5 water monsters in the graveyard. They respond to that special summon with Tearlament Screen, milling 3 cards from the top of their deck, banishing all their monsters, and Mooling Glacia resolves, banishing both of their monsters from their hand. So in this replay, we're going to normal summon Atlantean Prince and send Dragoons to the graveyard. A lot of people will use Ash Blossom on Neptyabyss, which is not really the thing you want to hit. If you're up against Mermail Atlanteans, you want to Ash the Dragoons. So we're going to activate the Dragoons, add a Lapis Dragon to the hand, then special summon the Lapis Dragon, so we can Synchro Summon into a Immortal Dragon. We'll activate the Immortal Dragon, sending Plague Spreader to the graveyard. Then we'll discard one water monster, the Rodent Toad, to special summon Mermail Atlantean, and then adding Abyss Gunday to the hand. We'll special summon Plague Spreader by setting Abyss Gunday on top of the deck. We'll activate Spright Jet to add Spright Starter. Linking away Immortal Dragon and Spright Jet, we'll special summon Spright Sprint to send Angler to the graveyard. Now we have 5 water monsters in the graveyard, so we can special summon our Mooling Glacia. Mooling Glacia will rip 2 cards from their hand, and we rip a Super Poly and Raigeki. Likely they're only board breakers. Using Mooling Glacia and Plague Spreader, we'll Synchro Summon into Baron de Flor. And with Sprint and Beaver, we'll Exi Summon into Gigantic Spright, special summoning Swap Frog from the deck. We already have Ronin Toad in the graveyard, so we'll send Swap Frog to the graveyard. Then link into Spright Elf. Special summon the Ronin Toad, banishing 1 Swap Frog. Then Exi summoning into a Melffy of the Forest. Using Forest to add Caddy to the hand. Banish another Swap Frog to bring back Ronin Toad. And then activate the Spright Starter. And it looks like the opponent is not going to engage. Final notes, you can use Spright Gamma Burst to OTK. This spell will increase all your monsters that are level 2, rank 2, or link 2 by 1400 attack until the end of the turn. You can also Exi summon into Sky Cavalry Centauri, then go into the battle phase with this monster. And in the main phase 2, you can rank up into Downward Magician. And then rank up into a 4 material Zeus that can wipe the board twice. I think my favorite thing to do in this deck is to use Sea Minstrel to look at their hand, and then take out a Nibiru. And with that, I'll see you guys next time.